So, you may be asking the one question Flame, it's kinda getting close to 3 weeks now since you last uploaded The Last of Us. What the hell happened? Well, let's start from the beginning. Now, when the first part was uploaded, I had the other parts being in the editing process. But, however, my computer had a different schedule in mind in which it just broke. So I tried my best to fix it because it wasn't that big of a deal, and then it just died. I got a disk error and I lost the files. By file, I mean the one file which was 2 hours and 30 minutes, and I had no choice of recovering it. But I had two choices at the helm. Either I go to a guy, get it repaired, and give him extra money to recover the file, or get a new computer. And since I was kind of already wanting to get a new computer because the computer I had before was not that great in the first place, I decided to buy a new computer. So once I bought that new computer, I then downloaded the programs that I had before and started to record for the second time. Now, here's where things get tricky and why it took a little bit longer. So the Elgato hit its head, you see, in which, for whatever, just to explain, once you're done recording, the Elgato then converts the file into an MP4 file. And I went on for 3 hours, and so on and so forth. So the video was being converted to an MP4 file. And what happened was that Elgato hit its head and stopped only at 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 15 seconds. Now, I thought at first that I fucked up because maybe I pulled the plug on the Elgato while I was trying to convert the video or something like that, because the Elgato has never, ever done this to me. So ultimately, what I ended up doing was trying to figure out why it was doing this. And so my attempt to try and figure it out was keep doing the same process over and over again, and it kept giving me the same results. And so in which most, I then went to a thread, and the thread's like, yo, before you start a new recording, if you end up doing it, there's a TF file in the Elgato library. Be sure to remove that, so therefore it's safe. So I did exactly that. Now, the problem was I couldn't understand why the Elgato was not converting to an MP4 file. Because when I get past 1 hour, 19 minutes, 50 seconds, let's say to 1 hour 30, or 1 hour 20, or 2 hours, or 2 hour, or close to the 3 hour mark, the video was completely fine. And I was kind of baffled. Maybe it was my Elgato, maybe it's something that I'm not seeing. So what I tried to do then is, well, maybe Elgato's not working, so I downloaded a bunch of other programs that convert files into MP4 files. And the reason why I was trying to convert it to an MP4 file and this is why I just learned recently, is that a TF file is a raw file. And you can't put that into your editing programs, whether it be Lightworks, or Adobe editing or whatever, or what have you, or any editing program, period. It's like pretty much saying, fuck you, change your ways to an MP4 file, or we're not going to accept you into our program. That's pretty much the gist of it. So I tried my best to converting the file into the MP4 files with different programs. Now the problem is they all gave the same results, which were the two things. One, it stopped at 1 hour and 19 minutes and 50 seconds, and the other was that it did not pick up my audio commentary, and that was a big problem. So as a last resort, I'm like, fuck this, I'm just going to give the whole file to YouTube. So I put the TS file into YouTube to upload. Now, it doesn't do it because it stopped at the mark. It stopped at maybe 40, 43 seconds during the uploading process, because what I assumed was the hour, 19 minutes, 50 seconds. There was some sort of corruption, and I just didn't understand why it wasn't processing. So ultimately, I found out the problem a little bit later, but before I found out the problem, I'll then explain. So I then became a little bit sad because I did not want to go through a third run of the same thing again, and starting from where I left off in part 1 for the third time. So I then at the last minute came up with this solution. I was like, wait a minute, I could use a screen capture to capture the video in TS file. And what by that I mean is that I open the TS file, and I enlarge it, and then it just plays, and I just record it by a screen capture. And you know what? It worked. And I was like, yeah, that's the ticket. However, what I then noticed was that when I tried to do it, it then stopped again at an hour, 19 minutes, and 15 seconds. So I was really, really puzzled as to why I couldn't like do the entire video. Even though I already checked the TS file showing that an hour 20, an hour 40, or 3 hours, or close to the 3 hour mark, the video was completely fine. And I looked it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to look at this hour and 19 minutes and 50 seconds, and I noticed this. There's this corruption bug or some kind, because when I put it to an hour and 20 minutes, it's fine. When I put it to an hour 19 minutes and 40 seconds, it's fine. If I go any lower than that, the file is corrupted and it says an error, we can't play your video. So I then was like, okay, if that's the case, all I have to do was just record it in chunks, which was stop the screen capture recording on this TS file to make it to an MP4 file at an hour, 19 minutes and 15 seconds, and then record it at an hour and 20 minutes and record it from the rest from there. In which I succeeded. Now there was a step 3 in the problem, in which case Lightworks, when I tried to put the file in, it went through it, no problem, no hassle, nothing. Then it became this issue where the audio was super delayed. We're talking maybe 2 minutes of delay audio. And I tried my best to sync it up and everything, but nothing worked. And I then became a little bit bummed out because I was this close, but no cigar. However, I did notice one thing, in which case, if I were to put the videos in another editing process that's not Lightworks, the audio seems fine. And then I found out later on that Lightworks has this thing where the audio is sort of sensitive or something, that if you don't have it at this audio or whatever, it just desyncs the fuck out of it. So I'm like, shit. So now it was a search to find a new editing program. Oh, man. So I had to download these editing programs, trying to find which one would be good. Ultimately, all of them had these stupid fucking trim shit, and I just didn't understand trimming. It was so bad. And then there was this one editing program in which I found, and which I was able to edit just to do cuts, because that's the most I could do. I couldn't up the volume or anything like that, like I usually do, or do other things that I usually do. So the best thing I could do was do cuts. And I found the good program that had the best cut feature. That's not best than Lightworks is editing cuts, but it's kind of good. It's really, really good. So I used that program and was able to edit everything. And now I have all the parts ready to upload. And boy, oh boy, what a fucking journey that was. Now, I do want to elaborate on something very, very, quickly. Or, just listen to me. In part 2 of the video, this was my second attempt going in. And I talk about how the computer broke, and that was the problem, and now I have the new computer, and then it was recording. That was past me, and that was past me. So future me, which is me now, past me doesn't know about the later problem in which the Elgato hits its head. So understand when you're listening to part 2, I'm going to be saying, well, look at me, this is what happened, this is why I'm late for a week. And just to clarify, it, I'm aware, I'm totally, that was past me, this is future me, so do understand that. The second thing is that there are some, even though I was able to save the file and everything and all that, there are some parts where it's just glitchy and pixelated, and the audio is kind of a little bit messed up. And what I mean by messed up is that it's just not not that it's not in sync or anything like that, it's just that it's not loud enough. So I would highly suggest that when you watch from part 2 to part 6 is to up your volume on your own computer so you can listen better. The audio may sound a little bit weird because I was screen capturing it on a screen capture from the file it's from the video file itself. So the audio may sound a little bit weird, and the presentation of the video may look a little bit weird, maybe. But that's my personal opinion. It looks a little bit weird, but to you it might just look completely fine, and I'm just a psycho fucking maniac because of that. With that said, yeah, just again, there's gonna be some parts where it's just glitchy, and there's some parts where the audio just cuts for random reasons, and yeah. So pretty much it's the following. If this ever happens again, now I am super aware that I have a backup, like plan B backup strategy to overcome this if this ever happens again. Whew. Wow, that went on for a little longer than it should have, but ultimately that's what happened these past close to 3 weeks since the last upload. And now everything's back on schedule. Now, I want to say one thing before we wrap this up in my end, and that is the following. Hold on. No, wait, no, don't, memory, please don't do this to me. You had it. Okay. So I remember what I wanted to say, and that is I am going to be uploading 2 videos per day until we are caught up in parts that should have been out by this point. Once that happens, I am going to go back to my regular schedule, which is uploading every second day. Now, I would say that is it, but there's actually one more thing. I do apologize. I am like this sometimes, so bear with me. This is the last thing, and that is in terms of streaming. I haven't streamed in a long while, but I will be streaming again once school is done, and my final exam is on December 13th. Once December 13th is done, I'm not going to be streaming on that day, obviously, because I want to recover. So I may be streaming again on December 15th. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, what happened with me. Take care, and have a good day. Bye.
No.